Hello, this is Jesse McCready. I'm with AniModule. Check out my modules at AniModule.com. Okay, what I got here today, I'm making some Vactrols. I was making them and I thought, oh, maybe that would get me a lot of clicks. I mean, maybe some other people might like to know how to make the Vactrols they use in SOB. It's pretty simple. Anyone can do at home. Though that has the photoresistors. Oh, that didn't focus, did it? Let's go back here. Let's try that again. It has the photoresistors. Oh yeah, how's that? Oh, that's not even any. It can't get much worse. So there you go, photoresistors and some LEDs. I learned a couple tricks over the years, and I'm using this flat bottom LED. But here you go. Here's the first step. It's got some simple super glue. You go. Put a little tack on there. Take this guy. It's photoresistor. It's cadmium sulfide, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now the super glue is not the be all end all. I wouldn't trust your musical endeavors to a dab of super glue, but this makes it easier for the handling in the future. Now I'm trying to make a few of them here. As you can see, I got a little field. It's a little Vactrol field. But I'll get right back to you on the next step. Or maybe even I'll talk through this one so that nobody watches the next step, and I'll keep my trade secret. Are you counting? Because I lost count. So I get for trying to teach you something. So, give away my secrets. But it's that's what these are. It's a cadmium sulfide resistor. And the resistance changes according to the light that is input. Oh yeah, what? This isn't done focused, does it? How about if I, not a lot of zoom range on there. Alright, well, you get it. You can, I don't watch it on a bigger television or something. There's, it's cadmium sulfide, silicon. As light enters, the resistance lowers. I don't know, I think you can get kinds that do different. I think you can get one that does each. Don't hold me to that. But I believe you can get one that lowers or a kind that increases. And then what do? You connect that to an LED that increases with the amount of current that you send to it. I may have that wrong. It may be voltage. So I lost count again. Oh, there you go. Alright. So your voltage or current or what, you know, you light your LED, your resistor changes. It's a cheap way of voltage control. Now, the thing is, it's not linear. So if you're, you know, they have a light sensing transistors, I believe. You can use them as switches. They may work better for a linear response. I couldn't tell you. I've never used one. But the response ends up being something like an envelope. So it sounds pretty musical. If you don't believe me, go buy an SOB at AniModule.com and you can and see for yourself. Alright, I'll get back to you on the next step. I'm back. Okay, next next step involves some heat shrink tubing. You don't cut them. I don't know, what's a rough guess? About yay big? What do you think? I think that's going to be a little too big. But yeah, just, you know, there's nothing precision here. We think, does it fit in my template? It does fit in my template. Nothing precision here. You don't want to cut it too small. You don't need approximately the right size. So, cut as many pieces as you're using. Said this is just some heat shrink. You want it to be larger than the largest piece in your Vactrol, which would be my 3mm LEDs. This stuff's probably bigger than I need, but it makes it a little more of a hassle to put together, but it's alright because I've got a secret weapon. I guess it won't be secret when I'm done showing you guys this, so and then finish trimming these up, and I'll meet back with you. Next step, you mix yourself up some epoxy. I do this in carefully measured amounts. Half and half. Carefully measured amounts. Get out your scale. Measure them by weight and volume. And it's 1 part to 1 part. Critical values. Oh, whoa. Then mix her up. What do you say? Yeah, I got a better. Oh, I dropped that down the back. A better little mixer. You see that? Maybe try to zoom in again. Mix it up till it's good and mixed. Then go ahead and mix it some more. Like I say, critical application. Life and limb are dependent on this. Well, we know that's not true, but your musical excellence may suffer because of your poor mixing. Here you go. I made a little template here. There you go. Keep your work surface nice and clean. nice and clean. Go ahead and give her a good slather. This is structural. Give her a good slather. Slip this on here, and you sort of center it. Get it? So that's where the template comes into play. It's not, you don't need a template, but if you're making a fistful at a time, it's nice to have. And hurry. Hurry up and wait. There you go, critical structural application. Can you even see me in the camera? There you go. Got to check from time to time. Focused on my work here. Instead of entertaining, teaching all of you. So you get the premise. I'll return shortly. Okay, now we get into the fun part. Fire. Hey. Hey. Is that warm? Is it warm? Don't try that at home. Alright, we're ready. There you go. It's a little pyro pen here. It's awful handy for this stuff. You probably use a propane torch or something. There you go. You probably thought I was gonna wait for that epoxy to dry overnight. Nope. I don't have the patience, the attention span, and I got big orders that I gotta get ready. So now, if you heat it too much, the epoxy you coated those in will boil. It'll bubble, and it sucks. I think it's probably not great for your LDR, which short for light dependent resistor. See, this is why I have the template here, but I've got a couple of freehand ones just to show. You probably don't need a template. Let's just heat it up a little bit. And you notice I'm only shrinking these halfway down because I'm going to go ahead and turn them over. Ideally, you want this heat shrink tubing to stick out a little bit on each end. And you'll see why later. Look, I got a second rack here. I go ahead and shrinky dink these all down and let that first rack cool a little bit. The template just helps. Also, you heat them up too much and that cyanoacrylate will release, the super glue. That's how you get super glue apart. You heat it. So you don't want to burn this. You don't, the heat shrink, you don't want to burn the epoxy. You don't want super glue to release because that epoxy is still curing. Although heating it helps it set up much faster. Alright, and you turn it off and turn it off. Put it somewhere safe where it's nice and clean and no mess and safe. Flip these over and we'll do the other side. There, that one. Yeah. You didn't think you were going to get a video with me with no fire in it, did you? Oh, he's doing electronics. We're not going to see any fire this time. Ha! Just flip them all over. And once you get them all flipped, go ahead and fire up your pyro pen again. Keep your lighter clear of the flame zone. Are we red? Yep, I read. And you just do the same thing. Don't get it too hot still, because that epoxy's still wet. It's still curing. You got this bastard here. This one. Ah, there you go. And you fuck. Make sure they stay centered and give you a little lip on the outside of each one. There you go. See a little epoxy squeeze. Oh, no. That is the photocell. The photoresistor squeezing out there. See, it gets a little fiddly here. You may say, Jesse, that is tedious. Why in the world would you make your own instead of just buying them and charging us more? Because my love for you knows no bounds. Just let that sink in. No, there was a Vactrol shortage a few years ago. It looked like they were going to be pretty difficult to get. And I said, I'm not playing that game. And through trial and error, and I got a whole bunch of different kinds of photocells and LEDs and put them together. Found ones that are reliably sourced and fair trade. No, I'm making that up. I don't even know if such a thing exists. I'm sure these are highly toxic to the environment. Your green Vactrol, if you make them yourself, maybe you can find it. But I found a most musical combination. Now, I'm best off not telling you which LED and photocell to use, because it's going to change depending on your given use for it. Even for the CV input on a filter, you're going to have different voltages, different transistors. So you gotta find the best mix that works for your components. And that's why I can't recommend a specific LED or photocell. You're going to have to try different ones and look at the specs. Why would I turn that off? That doesn't even make any sense. Fire! There you go. Alright, well, I'll meet you on the next step. We're almost there. Now here's a part you techno ravers may be a little more familiar with. Doesn't have anything to do with making Vactrols in particular, but no, I'm just kidding. This is just chalk. Just chalk. What do you call it? Calcium carbonate or calcium chalcofate? Something. I believe calcium carbonate. And just smash this up good. It is Saturday night after all. You get all the chunks out of there. Get it nice and smooth, nice and powdery. take this gag much further, I'd grab the mirror. I think this is a piece of paper was a credit application, right? Why they don't accept me? I don't understand. You give it a little, there you go. It's nice and powdery. You just want to pulverize it. And we've got this little guy here that the epoxy was in. Let me see here. Now, I use some of black ink left over from a run of printing front panels because this is epoxy based ink. The only problem is most black pigments are transparent. Very few black pigments that are not transparent. Pretty much if it's organic, it's going to be transparent. I believe lamp black is transparent. There's some blacks made out of iron oxide, which may have less transparency. But you don't have to have black ink. Like you see here, I have black ink because you can probably get a potting compound though. You can get light proof potting compound. But really what you need is an opaque substance, like said calcium carbonate. You're going to take that and mix it up. The good thing is, chalk is cheap. Now the teachers may not. The teachers in your public schools may not agree, but they're paying out of their own pockets, so. Here you go, you want to mix this up real good. We'll give this some good regular epoxy. Just to add some liquidity to it. Put a little dab of hardener on there. We'll get this mixed up. I'll scrape out the rest of the black ink I've got in that cup there. And here you go. I learned this because the first Vactrols I made, the first few batches I made, they leaked. When you turn the Vactrol knob on the AniModule SOB up, the cutoff would increase because light was getting into the back of the cabinet and bleeding through the black potting on the Vactrols. But you add this chalk and it makes it opaque and the light doesn't bleed through. What do you think? Is that enough chalk? Let's find out. It's kind of a two-stage deal. Now what you got here? You got this. You see how it's got a little lip there. That's why you want to cut this a little larger. And you take it and I'm a mess. Oh, you don't get it on the legs either. Obviously this applicator is too large. And let's put this here. Get in there. There you go. Where's the other one? I had it previously and dropped it. So, where did it go all the way down? No. Alright, I guess we gotta make a new one. Or maybe we can use this. This is too long. There you go. This may still be too big. And what's most important, and not really important, is that you orient your Vactrols in a consistent manner on your tray. I used to work with a guy. I'm pretty sure he was an insane dwarf, but he would always say, if you're gonna fuck up, at least fuck up consistently. And that makes a lot of sense. He didn't really sound like Yoda. That's just my poor interpretation. Alright, so you get it. You do this all on one side. I'll meet you. And here we are. These are all cured up. Well, they're not cured, but they're hard enough to turn over without tripping down on the bottom. You see, if you touch the legs on some of them, you can just take your thumbnail. It's easier to do it while the epoxy's still soft, but you can do that, or you can take your razor blade and cut it down a little bit, just scrape it off. Right, well, today is a new day. I have not reviewed the footage from yesterday, and I will not, because I've got other things to do, namely fill in these Vactrols and get my other work done. But so if I repeat myself, well, it's considered redundancy. So we do the same thing. You turn them over. Like I said, I have this black epoxy ink, but I bet you know, anything viscous and opaque would probably do the trick. You could probably take household epoxy and put black pigment or charcoal and chalk. Charcoal and chalk sounds pretty good. That sounds pretty opaque. It doesn't even have to be black, but black helps keep the light out of the back, besides the fact that it's transparent. So that seems like a fair amount. I guess if I need more, I can mix more up. Alright, that's good. Put a little bit of the real life epoxy in here just to ensure proper hardening, because this ink, I'm pretty sure it stays a little softer than your standard epoxy. Due to the pigments in it. But that's fine. We're not gluing anything. We're just trying to keep the light out. Here's a little pulverized chalk. Already did the Saturday night party gags yesterday, so we'll just get down to it. And mix her up good and thorough. Keep out of the corners. I probably should have mixed epoxy first and mixed everything good and proper in different stages, but I didn't. So I'm just going to mix all of this thoroughly. Like I said, there's nothing critical. There's nothing. It's not even structural to the Vactrol. That was the epoxy we put in the guts here, and then the shrink wrap, and the shrink wrap tubing. And that's the guts and the body of the Vactrol. This is purely just to keep the light out. So your Vactrol doesn't bleed. What do you think? Does that seem mixed up pretty thoroughly? I think it does, so I'll mix it a little bit more. And good. You take this and just add a little drop in the back here on the top, and add a little drop in the front. You try not to drip it, but it doesn't matter. This stuff is pretty much self-leveling. You just want to get it in here so you can see that it covers the lip that's created by the shrink wrap tubing. Get in there, and you don't want to lose track of which is which. I'll do another one for you. See this one? This one you don't have a lip from the shrink wrap tubing because I didn't have it centered properly. It's okay. We'll get her good. I'm going to cross my fingers and hope. Don't get it on your hands. Stuff is permanent when it cures. So you just want to make sure it's covered. This one has more. It's more likely to bleed because you got the edges. You know, there's more places for light to creep in to the photoresistor. I gotta. Where's this? Where? There you go. I'll just keep a paper towel, keep a rag handy, because this stuff, I don't think it's toxic to get on your skin, but I think it's great, and it stays around. It sticks around. Come here. Come here. It doesn't fit quite properly. We'll squeeze them together a little bit. Now this is just a piece of PCB. I screwed some legs on to give it a little height. There you go. Give it a little height. You can give it a little height so that it's not sitting horizontally, so the goo leaks out. You probably want to have this where I want it before I pack that in. And this one, looks, some of the epoxy structure is squeezed out. It's not a big deal. We just cover it up, and then you give it all 20 minutes and let the potting mixture settle and see if anything's sunk in, see if you can see any edges of your shrink wrap tubing, and then touch it up. And there you have it. And here you have it. A Vactrol Farm. Well, it's a patch. Patch of Vactrols. Let this cure up. And they're good to go. Should be able to stick them in a PCB in, I don't know, a few hours. Ideally, you want to let it cure overnight. Epoxy takes about a week to cure, but it'll cure on PCB, just so long as it's not oozing onto it. And that's how you make a Vactrol. So how the Vactrols in the AniModule SOB are made. So, I'm Jesse McCready. I'm with AniModule. Check out my modules at AniModule.com. If you got any questions, give me a shout. And wash your hands when you're done.